The River Nile was the lifeblood of ancient Egypt. Its annual floods deposited rich silt on the land. This fertile soil allowed farmers to grow an abundance of crops, especially grain. Wheat and barley were essential foods for the Egyptians. They formed the basis of their diet. Grain was more than just food in ancient Egypt. It was a form of currency. People paid their taxes and debts with grain. The pharaoh controlled the grain supply. This gave him immense power and wealth. Egypt's economy thrived on the Nile's bounty. The pharaoh's government collected taxes from the people. These taxes were mostly paid in grain. Farmers had to give a portion of their harvest to the state. Tax collectors kept careful records of the grain collected. Scribes used hieroglyphs to record the amounts on papyrus scrolls. The grain collected as taxes was stored in vast granaries. These granaries were located throughout the kingdom. The pharaoh controlled these grain reserves. He used them to feed his officials, soldiers, and construction workers. The grain could also be traded with other countries. Building pyramids required an enormous workforce. Farmers were conscripted to work on these projects. They had to leave their fields during the flood season. This was a time when they were not needed for agriculture. In return for their labor, the workers received food and shelter. Many Egyptians fell into debt. They borrowed grain to survive during lean years. They had to work off their debts. This system created a cycle of dependency. People became indebted to the state. They were obligated to provide labor for the pharaoh's projects. Section 4. Pyramids more than tombs. Economic engines of the Old Kingdom. Pyramids are often seen as symbols of royal power and extravagance. However, they also played a vital role in the Egyptian economy. The construction of these massive monuments created employment opportunities. Thousands of workers were needed to quarry, transport, and shape the stones. The pyramid project stimulated demand for goods and services. Workers needed food, clothing, and tools. This created a market for craftsmen and traders. The influx of resources and labor into the pyramid construction sites had a ripple effect throughout the economy. Section 5. A bubble on the Nile, rethinking the collapse of the Old Kingdom. The Old Kingdom, a period of great pyramid building, eventually collapsed. This was due to a complex interplay of factors: droughts, political instability, and possibly the unsustainable costs of pyramid construction all contributed to the decline. Could the Old Kingdom's collapse be seen as an early example of a financial bubble? The massive investment in pyramids created a temporary economic boom. However, this boom may have been built on an unstable foundation. When the pharaoh's power weakened, the system collapsed. The legacy of the pyramids reminds us that even the most impressive achievements can have hidden costs.